What's the hardest thing for a person to heal from? A broken bone? A deep cut? For most of us, it's a broken relationship. That feeling of a family torn apart, a friendship destroyed, or just that endless mental replay of how someone wronged you. It can feel like a life sentence, a wound that just won't close, keeping you chained to the past. The anger, the resentment, the bitterness, it's a heavy weight to carry around, physically and emotionally. But what if there was a way to not just stitch that wound, but to actually reverse the damage? Scientists and psychologists are now confirming what wisdom traditions have taught for centuries. Forgiveness isn't just a nice idea, it is a psychological and even neurological superpower. This isn't about excusing bad behavior or pretending the pain didn't happen. It is an active choice you make to let go of the toxic feelings that have you tied to the person who hurt you. Stick around and we'll uncover the 5 proven miracles that forgiveness can bring into your life. First, let's get one thing straight about what forgiveness is not. It's not about condoning what someone did, pardoning them, or even reconciling. You can absolutely forgive someone and still want justice. You can forgive someone and still choose not to have them in your life. As pioneering researcher Dr. Robert Enright puts it, forgiveness is about offering goodness to those who haven't been good to you. It's an internal shift, a gift of mercy you give to someone else that, in the end, heals you. Now, let's get into the science. The first miracle of forgiveness shows up right where it hurts the most, in our closest bonds with our families and friends. When trust gets shattered by a lie, a betrayal, or a cruel word, the relationship itself can feel like the biggest casualty. Our first instinct is often to pull away, put up walls, and let that resentment simmer. But all the research shows that path just leads to more bitterness and isolation. Forgiveness gives you another option. Think of it as a de-escalation tool. Studies consistently show that people who practice forgiveness feel much more satisfaction and quality in their relationships. And this isn't just a feeling, it's a biological process. The act of forgiving actually fires up the parts of your brain linked to empathy, taking other people's perspectives and regulating your emotions. When you try to put yourself in the other person's shoes, even for a second, it softens the sharp edges of your anger. That's your brain's mirror neurons doing their job, the circuits that let you imagine what someone else is going through. This shift from anger to empathy is what opens the door for real communication and problem solving to start again. Think about a family fight that's been dragging on for years. Holding that grudge keeps everyone stuck in a hostile standoff. But when one person decides to forgive, it breaks the cycle. It doesn't magically erase what happened, but it lowers the emotional temperature in the room, making it possible to rebuild trust. In committed relationships, this ability to forgive isn't just a nice bonus. It's the bedrock of a long and healthy partnership. It is the very thing that allows 2 imperfect people to navigate the inevitable hurts of life and come out stronger together. The second miracle shows what happens when you scale up forgiveness. If it can mend a family, it can help mend an entire society. The exact same principles, empathy, breaking cycles of resentment apply, but the impact is magnified across thousands or even millions of people. Think about the endless cycles of revenge that fuel so many conflicts around the world. One group feels wronged, so they retaliate. Then the other group, now feeling wronged, hits back. It's a devastating feedback loop with no end. Forgiveness is the circuit breaker. It introduces the radical idea that you can hold someone accountable for an injustice without demanding an eye for an eye. This isn't about forgetting history or ignoring real harm. It's a pragmatic choice to stop a destructive pattern from spilling into the future. We've seen this work in the real world. Sociological studies on post-conflict healing, from South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission to peace building in Northern Ireland, all point to forgiveness as a key ingredient for collective healing. These processes show that when one group extends empathy to another and acknowledges their shared humanity, it creates a chance for a new future. Dr. Robert Enright, who has studied forgiveness in global conflict zones, has seen firsthand how it can reduce toxic anger and help communities work together again. For a community to heal, the focus has to shift from vengeance to the common good, where justice and mercy can actually coexist. This miracle doesn't mean everyone has to become best friends. It just requires a willingness to let go of the right to resentment for the sake of peace. It's a recognition that our futures are tied together and that endless cycles of retaliation eventually burn everyone. The third miracle of forgiveness happens deep inside your own head. It's the power to shut down obsessive thoughts and the desire for revenge. When someone hurts us, our brain's threat detector, the amygdala, goes on high alert. We get thrown into a state of fight or flight, and our mind can get stuck in a loop, replaying the injustice over and over again. This is called rumination, and it's mentally and physically exhausting. Fantasizing about revenge might give you a temporary hit of dopamine, a fleeting moment of satisfaction, but it only digs the destructive groove deeper, hijacking your attention and draining your energy. Forgiveness is the neurological off-ramp. Using fMRI scans, neuroscientists have watched what happens in the brain when we choose to forgive. Activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear and anger hub, starts to quiet down. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that handles problem solving, emotional regulation, and rational thought, lights up. In other words, forgiveness shifts you from a state of raw, hot-headed reaction to one of cool, considered reflection. And this isn't just a one-time thing. It's a form of mental training. Every time you consciously choose to let go of a grudge, you strengthen the neural pathways between your rational prefrontal cortex and your emotional limbic system. You are literally rewiring your brain to be more resilient. Think about a workplace injustice, a colleague stealing credit for your work. You could spend weeks ruminating, letting anger poison your focus. Or you could decide to forgive. This doesn't mean you don't address the problem, but it means you refuse to let resentment take up all your cognitive bandwidth. With practice, forgiveness becomes less of a huge effort and more of a learned skill, a mental muscle that lets you drop the weight of revenge and get your peace of mind back. The fourth miracle of forgiveness is the incredible and measurable impact it has on your physical health. Holding on to anger isn't just a state of mind. It's a state of chronic stress that puts a massive strain on your body. Dr. Karen Swartz at Johns Hopkins Medicine explains that chronic anger keeps your body stuck in a constant fight-or-flight mode. This leads to a flood of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, this chronic stress response can be devastating. Studies have linked unforgiveness to a higher risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, a weaker immune system, and even diabetes. People who hold on to grudges are also more likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Your body can't tell the difference between a lion chasing you and a memory of a betrayal. It reacts with the same cascade of stress hormones every single time. Forgiveness is the antidote. When you truly forgive, you give your body permission to stand down from high alert. Research has shown a direct link between forgiving and lower stress levels. Studies have found that more forgiving people tend to have lower blood pressure, healthier cholesterol levels, better sleep, and fewer complaints about physical health. One study even found that as participants' forgiveness levels went up over 5 weeks, their stress levels went down, which in turn reduced their symptoms of mental health issues. This isn't just positive thinking. It's about turning off the biological alarm that's been ringing 24/7, allowing your body to finally rest, repair, and recover. Forgiveness is quite literally a prescription for a healthier life. The fifth and maybe most profound miracle of forgiveness is the freedom it gives you. It's the miracle of taking back your own future. We often think that holding a grudge gives us some kind of power over the person who hurt us. We think our anger is a weapon, but the science and psychology are crystal clear. The person most imprisoned by unforgiveness is the one who can't forgive. Holding on to that pain keeps you chained to the past. It forces you to define your life by something someone else did to you. You remain the victim, and the other person continues to control your emotional state long after the event is over. Forgiveness is the act of cutting those chains. It is the ultimate declaration that you will no longer allow that person or that event to dictate your happiness or your peace. This is what researchers mean when they say forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It is a choice to move from a position of pain to a position of power, not power over someone else, but power over your own life. Dr. Robert Enright's model of forgiveness includes a discovery phase, where people often find new meaning and purpose after working through their suffering. They discover that by letting go of the burden of anger, they unlock emotional energy they never knew they had. This is the great paradox of forgiveness. In the act of offering mercy to someone who may not deserve it, you are the one who is truly set free. You stop living in the wound and start living your own life again. So, from mending our families to healing our societies, from rewiring our brains to rebooting our health, and finally to achieving our own personal freedom, the science is clear. Forgiveness, in its truest sense, is one of the most powerful tools we have. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's about refusing to let it define your future. It's the ultimate act of taking back your power. What has forgiveness unlocked in your life? Has letting go of a grudge ever changed things for you? Share your story in the comments below. We can all learn something from each other's journeys. And if you found this valuable and you want more content that unpacks the science behind a better life, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.